Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Diana. Today we are talking about God's priority. Have you ever had something that is really complex become simplified for you? Something like, the complexity of the theory of gravity could be simplified to this statement that it's just the force that keeps everything on Earth. Right? Or think about the complexity that happens in digestion. All of the different steps and organs that play a vital part in the process. There's complexity that fills volumes and volumes of books. But you could say digestion could be simplified to say food helps fuel your body, right? There is beauty in complexity and the depth of complexity, and there is beauty in simplicity. Both have their value. Well, Jesus was asked what was the greatest commandment of all time is. And he took the beautiful detail and vast complexity of hundreds of laws, and he simplified them into today's verse. It's in Matthew 22, starting in verse 37. Listen to this. Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." So love God and love your neighbor. You could say those are God's priority for you and for I as followers of Jesus. So what does this mean? It means that as we grow in our new faith, as we grow in our faith, we can bring this priority back to mind. And ask yourself every so often this question. Say, God, how can I love you this week? God, how can I love my neighbor? If it's God's priority, does it make it onto your priority list? And as we build this habit of thinking about this priority of loving God and loving our neighbor and practicing this priority with God's help, we're going to find that we are growing in this ability to live out God's priority as a follower of Jesus. Now, it won't be perfect, and it is not always simple, but it is always worth it. So why does this matter? Well, most of us have experienced the consequences that eventually come when our priorities are out of order. Have you felt that strain before? Maybe when your work time priority took too much priority over your family time, you experienced consequence. Or maybe when rest time took too much priority over schoolwork or project work. We know what happens when our priorities are out of order and out of balance for too long. It causes consequences and challenges. In today's verse, God is helping us focus our priorities, focus what we make the top thing we give our interest to, our time to, our thought to, our heart to. He says, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. So if we could make it simple, if you keep these two priorities in front of you and you adjust as needed throughout the days, the months, and the years, this is going to help you as you follow Jesus with the help of the Holy Spirit to prioritize what God prioritizes, loving God with all your heart, your mind, and your strength, and loving your neighbor